a workbook page that is also assigned. Now, even with this workbook page, taught 6th grade for 12 years, so I'm always thinking about testing, okay? So, look at this, multiple choice. Why are we teaching the strategies? Okay, they read the story, now they answer a multiple choice question. You could take this and say, okay, let's look at question number 1. Let's read, well, first thing we're going to do, read the directions, or read the question. All right, now I'm going to read I'm going to read the choices. Then, is there a choice that doesn't make sense? Could it be the answer? Process of elimination. All of those things, this is just 1st grade, and we can start to embed a lot of these skills and strategies right here just using this program. You don't have to have a whole nother test-ready book and all this other stuff. We could do it right here using this. Okay? Here we have answering, and even with this, I do understand they have the materials on PDF. You can pull them up. You can make a copy of it. You can have them, because they're not able to write in here, but if you pull out the story, you can have them answer the questions and say, well, where did you find, how do you know that's your answer? Where do you find, how is the text based? Okay? Go back and have them underline where they found the answer. What page did you find it on? Can you read that for me? Okay? Even here, answering in complete sentences, restating the question. All of those skills, you're going to have to do it in another 2 years, 1 year. They're starting in 2nd grade now. Start embedding it now. Okay? You can tear this. This may be, for your high learners, this may be too simple. They have this DOK or Bloom's taxonomy. Change the questions. Make it more rigorous. Still using the same material. What made that character a nitwit? How would you give me a word to describe that character and support it with evidence from the text? All of that's what we're hearing now for the upper grades. We're going to be hearing it for the lower grades also. And this is where we build it. This is the support. And I did faster this time. They kept rushing me before.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is, unfortunately, when Kate came in, she ate up a little bit of our time, so we're not going to be able to do that one last swap. The other swap was a 1st grade skills lesson. It follows a kindergarten, this is 1st grade. A very similar structure of how the lessons proceed and the principles behind that. And we can talk to it tomorrow morning, but we need to get everybody sort of back to home base to close out today, because it's our understanding you guys have somewhere else you need to be, or something else is going on at 4:30. Yeah, and we need to be able to, everybody needs to be able to get back to their seat and get their stuff, and then also pack up and we need to close out and pack up where they need to go. So, we do have 5 more minutes here if you have questions about the skills lessons. And Felicia, you've done both kindergarten and 1st grade, correct?
I've done
all the way to 3rd. So if you have specific questions about that, then we have a few minutes to take them.
The independent practice, I'm assuming that in groups, you're thinking potentially?
That within the teacher's guide, it does offer option for you to break out into small groups. Okay. It suggests 2 groups. However, class size, it may not work with just 2 groups. So that's how we could have used the workbook pages to tier, where you have your high, middle, and struggling.
Essentially, you could be working with a group of kids, and another group of kids could be doing something
independent, aligned with what the lesson objective was. So we'd be using those new introductory sounds, however, with an activity to support it. Also, I wanted to note, in here, Core Knowledge also does have a remediation guide, at which if you feel that if you have children that need additional support, then you do have the option of using the remedial guides. I'm not sure, there was a question if they were available with
the materials?
Yeah, so tomorrow, right before lunch, we will have a conversation about all of the materials, where they're gonna be, when they're gonna be. We're gonna talk about budgeting for how do you get this stuff printed out, because as you can see, just from these 2 short lessons, there's a lot of pieces. And so we're gonna talk to that tomorrow, but the entire program will be available on Engage New York, okay? So it will all be there. The delivery deadline that we have for the skills component and a revised, enhanced version of the listening and learning, so what you have up there now is just samples, is June 2013. That's when we're to deliver those materials to the state. And the assessment and remediation guides are part of that, the supplemental guides, these cards, the flip books, the big books, the workbooks, all those pieces are part of what will be up on Engage New York. And tomorrow, as I said, right before lunch, we'll talk about, oh my gosh, how do we do this, and what do we need to think about in terms of putting into our budget, because as you can see, this isn't something you're going to be able to go home and do the night before and on your home computer and print out. It's not. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
That's the only way it's going to be available is by printing it all out yourself and putting it together? Or will it be available as...
We'll talk to that tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll talk to that tomorrow. Yeah.
And in addition to this, the remediation guide, there are pausing point activities in every lesson. However, in this case, you see the pausing point, and those are just another plethora of various activities that are aligned to the various lessons that you would have covered throughout the entire unit. However, you don't have to wait to the end. If you feel that you still have, you still need additional resources, there are lessons in here that would have covered the alternative spellings, SE and CE. So why wait to the end if you know through quick assessment that your children still, particular children still need it? Incorporate those the pausing point activities. They're here. You don't have to wait to the end as they're positioned here. Use them throughout.
A couple questions. One would be then, it sounds as if the spelling is embedded in that particular, I mean, teachers are so used to those pre-tests, post-tests, that type of thing, but I also wanted to ask, I didn't see anything about the writing. And is there something very specific
We're going to
about
spend
building?
the whole morning on writing tomorrow.
Okay, what about even the handwriting itself?
Yes. We're going to spend the whole morning on writing, and
Okay.
we're going to show you how it rolls out in the program.
Okay.
We're going to show you some student work samples so you can see the
Okay.
kinds of things that kindergartners will be able to do.
I have a really quick question. When a couple people came
This is-
before in November, we had this conversation, and the one thing that they wanted me to kind of figure out this time is, once you get that pausing point at the end, and there's an assessment or whatnot, and most of your kids have got it, and then I think David was telling us, and you just move on to the next book and the next unit. What about those kids that aren't ready to move on? Do they go back? He had said before in November that you go back to the beginning of that reader, that nitwit reader or whatever, or you would go back. Is that still the case? And because that kind of separates your class then. And how does that?
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, because that was my scenario in many of in the teachers in my school, is that they were using the pausing point activities at the end. And rhyme or reason, those activities need to be used throughout your support. So it offers the remediation for you to then be allowed to then move forward, and what that particular child needs, then that child needs. Okay?
So sort of ongoing assessment throughout the program. It's not just pausing point, it's not just at the end. And the way that it's structured with some whole group and some breakout group is you're continually doing remediation with those kids. And it's usually the case that they can all move on together if you plan that right and do that right.
Do the individual skills, like the S and the SS, do those spiral again in upcoming lessons to where the kids will see those same things again more and more? So it's constant spiral review?
Yes,
The whole
everything
thing is
constantly
spiral, and
spirals,
the readers are intentionally developed to
Right.
spiral
Okay.
what they've already been explicitly taught. If we haven't done a lesson like this on it,
Right.
they're not going to encounter it in a reader.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Okay, we need to get back.